Welcome to a reading of A Library by Nikki Giovanni, illustrated by Erin K. Robinson, and read aloud by Rosalind Arthofon. This version of the reading will have prompts for teachers and parents to engage with their students and children. The corresponding worksheets are available to download on our Ko-fi page for free. For a plain read-aloud version, without these questions, please check out our Read Aloud playlist. Before we begin, let's talk a little bit about libraries. Libraries are really special places. They're like magical treasure chests, filled with books, all just waiting for you to explore. You can borrow the books and take them home to read, or you can read them right there in the library. If you ever need help to find a specific book, you can talk to a friendly librarian, and they can help you to find the books that you need. A library works almost like a store, but instead of paying for your books, you get to take them home for free when you have a library card. Now let's read a book about one girl's special trip to the library. This is the cover of the book. Can you tell me what the title is? The title of this story is A Library. Can you tell me who the author is? The author of this book is Nikki Giovanni. Can you tell me who the illustrator is? The illustrator of the book is Erin K. Robinson. After breakfast on Monday, Grandmother washes the sheets and pillowcases. I wash the dishes. I help her hang the sheets outside and watch the wind gently blow them. Grandmother takes her sit down and asks me, "Aren't you going to return those books?" Let's pause for a moment. Where do you think the girl is going to go to return the books? I think I have an idea. Do you? To the library. I hurry up Mulvaney Street, all the way to Vine Avenue, to the Carnegie Library. A library is a place to be free, to be in space. Ooh, this is getting interesting. Let's see what she does next. To be a cook, to be a crook, to be in love, to be unhappy, to be quick and smart. Who do you see in the corner over there? Yep, that's right, it's a librarian. To surf the rainbow, to sail the dreams, to be blue, to be jazz. Does anyone know what kind of instrument that is? Yep, it's a trombone. Very good. To be wonderful, to be you. A place to be. Yeah, to be. I go home and help fold the sheets and peel the carrots and potatoes and onions. And go sit on the back porch, covering my toes with a quilt, and read. To be another me. The end. Now that we've finished the reading, let's go over a couple of questions on the corresponding worksheets. Teachers can feel free to pause the video as you go along. Question number 1. What are libraries? Write your answer in the space below. Question 2. Who is the author of the book, A Library? Write your answer on the lines below. Question number 3. How does the little girl help her grandmother after breakfast on Monday? Question 4. Who are the main characters in the story? Question 5. What is the setting for this story? Question 6. What happens at the beginning of this story? Question 7. What happens in the middle of this story? Question 8. What happens at the end of the story? Now let's try a different activity. Let's do a vocabulary word search. Use the words in the list below to find them inside the search box. Authors and illustrators are both very important, and they each have their own unique jobs when it comes to telling a story. Let's look back at the cover of our book that we just read. The author, Nikki Giovanni, is the one who writes the words for the story, and the illustrator, Erin K. Robinson, is the one who draws the pictures that go along with the words. Now, imagine that we had a book. Maybe you have had a book like this when you were much younger that has only pictures in it and no words. It might be like looking at a photo album. We could use our eyes and our imagination to try and figure out the story about what happened in each of those pictures. But it would be hard to understand without having words or somebody to tell you what's happened. That's the job of the author. In this case, Miss Nikki Giovanni, to tell us her story in words. Okay, but now what happens if we have books without any pictures at all and only words? In that case, we would have to imagine in our heads what the characters look like, or what scenes are happening, or what's going on, and what the story would look like in our minds. Sometimes what we imagine is a little bit different than what the author who wrote the story imagines. So they would work together with an illustrator to help us see what they see in their minds, what the characters of the story look like to them, so that we can better understand. So that's the job of the illustrator. And the illustrator for this book is Miss Erin K. Robinson. So let's go back to our worksheets and answer the following questions. What is the name of the author of this book? What does an author do? What is the name of the illustrator of this book? What is the job of the illustrator? Excellent. Now let's go back to a couple of the previous pages in the story where the author says a library is a place where you can go to be a cook, to be a crook, to be in love. Now you might be thinking, what does she mean? I thought the library was a place to get books. Does she really mean that you can go to the library to cook a meal? What does the author mean? What does the author mean when she says the library is a place where you can go to cook a meal? To understand this a little more, we need to know that the little girl in the story went on so many different adventures because of the books she borrowed from the library. And there are many, 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 many different types of books. There are two types in particular, though, that we're interested in. The first one is fiction. So fiction is when we make up stories. It's when we use our imagination to create characters and adventures that aren't real. So if you read a book about talking animals or magical places, that's fiction. It's a make-believe world. Nonfiction, on the other hand, is all about real things. When we read nonfiction, we learn facts and information about the real world, like when we read about animals or planets or people who have really lived. That's nonfiction. It's like learning new stuff about the world around us. So, fiction is like a fun pretend story, and nonfiction is like a big book that helps us learn about real things. Both are great and can be lots of fun to read. So let's pretend that we go to a library and we check out a book about cooking. Would a cookbook be a nonfiction book or a fictional book? If you guess nonfiction, that's correct. Okay, but how about if we got a book about princesses, knights, and dragons? Would that be a fictional book or a nonfiction? If you said nonfiction, that's not correct. It would be a fictional book. So let's go back to our story again in our previous worksheet. What does the girl mean when she says you can go to the library to cook a meal? What kind of book would she be checking out? How about what she means when she says a library is a place to be in love? Think back to all your Disney stories. Maybe she's reading an adventure romance book. A place to be unhappy. Maybe she went there to read a book and the book was sad. Or maybe she was feeling sad, so she went to go find a book to read to make her happy again. To be blue. Maybe she got a book on the color blue. Or maybe she was learning about the blues. You can find books on any subject of any type in the library. You can find books on any subject in the library, including books about libraries. Check out these books when you have the chance to visit your local library. That's all for this lesson from Documento. If you enjoyed, please give a like, comment, or subscribe. And don't forget to check out our Ko-fi page where you can download all of the corresponding worksheets. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.